We are officially live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to a very special edition of Wrestle Watch. Well, I mean, I say, special edition. We're a week late, but you know what? It was by design. It's been a crazy week this week. But Wrestle Watch is here, your WWE PLE review show here at BC WrestlePod. And we are here to, now that we've had a week to kind of digest and see where things are going in the world of WWE. We are here to give our thoughts, opinions, and overall feelings about Survivor Series War Games. Of course, my name is Mikey, El Jefe of BC WrestlePod, and joining me this morning on the West Coast, afternoon on the East Coast, and maybe evening, depending on where you're watching this. The Pleat Father himself is here. So, Kilt, I am happy to have you.
I'm here. You know I was late because I messed up times.
You know what? I wasn't going to mention that, but you know what? You did anyway, so you saved me the problem. But
Always be honest and upright with your mistakes and admit to them so that way you can move forward and do better later. It is being part of an adult. Now I'm going to drink.
Go for it. So before we dive into everything, just to kind of give an overview, we are going to talk about War Games, and then we're also going to briefly talk about Saturday night's main event, which is coming up this Saturday. Normally, we don't usually do watch-alongs. I mean, we did it for the first one because it was the first one. But we'll get into all of that as to why we're going to do a watch along this upcoming Saturday for this Saturday night's main event, which is a big one. And we'll discuss that when we get there. But really quickly, before we get into everything else, really quickly, if you like what you see here and you want to dig into our archives to see what else we have to offer, you can subscribe to the YouTube, follow us on Twitch and Kick, and look at our past streams, our edited reviews if you're looking for something a little bit shorter, and just overall get to interact with us on the online components in terms of the videos and the vids and things like that. You can also pick your favorite social media site and follow us at BC WrestlePod because we're pretty much everywhere. And on those social media sites, you can see our report cards for the pay-per-views and the weekly shows, as well as previews of the cards for the shows, and as well as our predictions. Because if you checked out our latest post in terms of like the results and our final scores for Deadline last night, you know that NXT boned everybody pretty hard. So, but it is a great time for sure.
Oh yeah, we're talking no lube, no aftercare, except for the other two. They got a little bit of good job. I got
clean your streets like Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. So
I didn't get the Merry Christmas part.
It's crazy out here for sure. But on top of that, we also have some merch available. We are entering the final weeks of 2025. So all current designs in the shop will be going away come the new year because we got some new designs coming up. We are revamping some stuff. It is great. So I'm excited for BC WrestlePod in 2026. But make sure you get your holidays shirt, which will be going away after the holidays. So please do so. And that is at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. On top of that, though, if you would like to, help us monetarily, so to speak, you can donate to our coffee, which is a great time to be had by all. So the little coffee bot will be popping in ever so often. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into why we're here. So again, it's been about a week. We have, been able to reflect and digest Survivor Series War Games. And let's just get into it, shall we? So we kicked off Survivor Series War Games with our Women's War Games match. So this is the team of Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss, taking on the team of Lash legend Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champs, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. So I'm going to repeat this phrase as we go through the rest of the show. I think this was a solid but safe show overall. I said so as much from my report cards. It just felt that there was a lack of pizzazz, so to speak, for certain things. I will say that this match was one of the brighter spots for me, for sure. Well, actually, I will say this now. The first half of the card were the bright spots. Everything afterwards was just like fine to, so this is what we're doing. I want to put this out there really quickly, though, because I've seen a lot of comparisons over the last week. It is not fair to compare this match to the AEW equivalent with our first ever women's blood and guts match that happened a couple weeks ago prior to this pay-per-view. And I don't believe in, comparing women to each other because that's not fair either because the internet already does that and the real world does that enough. And companies are different and all women's wrestling is fantastic. With that being said, though, I think this was a fun match, but I feel that it was very toned down. And like, it wasn't as crazy, even though the men's was match wasn't as crazy either. There were less spots in terms for the women, but I feel like the women had the more creative ones. Like, for example, when Kyrie and Asuka started tying people up with the chain was fun. I thought that was unique. Io with the trash can spot was great. But as far as this match goes, I think it was fun. It was solid. I just felt that there was a lot of the fieriness kind of missing. It was very tamed compared to past years' women's board games. And I'm not expecting everyone to start bleeding, but at the same time, I was like, this felt very tamed. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is solid. I had a good time, but it was fine. I think, which I don't know. I need to start finding new adjectives, but there was a lot. I felt like there was something missing in this match. I don't know if you felt the same way, Kilt.
Oh, I did. I definitely did. Because two of these, in all honesty, you could literally separate everybody out. Obviously, Io and Rhea have a thing with the Kabuki Warriors. Okay, cool feud there. AJ Lee and the man Becky Lynch have a feud there. What's Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss taking a stake in this? What is Lash Legend and Nia Jax's stake in this? Because there's nothing there. And it's like it's just their storytelling was poor. There's no reason for all 10 of these women to really come together and coincide and then fight each other. It just I don't see I didn't see anything story wise for this match. And as you said, it was very tame. It felt like they were just trying to get through the match. And we'll see this in a little bit in like one or two more matches later. And I'll bring it up as well. What is this? Okay, never mind. But it was a good match all in all. I enjoyed it. Obviously, I absolutely loved Io becoming, Io the Grouch and trash canning her way through everything. That was fun. That was entertaining. Kylie is going a little bit deeper into the dark side from what it looks like, or at least that's what I think they're trying to push her towards. I wanted a split between Kyrie and Asuka, and Kyrie went over to Io's side, but that's okay. That can be built out some other time. It's just storytelling. That was the biggest issue. There was no story here. It just literally looked like there were a faction here going after each other, and then they decided to add in 4 people that really didn't have anything to do with anything. Not saying Lash Legend didn't belong on this stage. She does. She's an amazing, amazing athlete, and I love everything she's doing. I'm so glad she's now on main roster. But the situation as I see it, stake in this fight. Becky Lynch inserted herself into this fight from what I could tell. And the only reason AJ Lee stepped up is because Becky Lynch was there.
Fair. So, and I think that's kind of been the big problem, like the last 2 war games for the women's matches. They always do this. We get very little story build, and then they end up being probably the favorite of the 2 matches. But I feel like this year definitely showed us like this is what happens when you don't have any narrative stakes for everyone to be in this match. And then kind of to fast forward to this week on Raw, and I'm thinking, okay, we got feuds going. So we got some feuds like the Charlotte and Alexa are going back after the Kabuki Warriors to get the titles back, and then Lash and Nia Jax are also in their mix, so that's fine. And then I'm like, AJ and Becky are probably going to keep separated until we get closer to Mania, so that's been weird to see. Io has kind of been non-existent this week on television, which was really weird. And then you have Rhea Ripley, who I was like, oh, okay, so she's going to go after people. What do we do? They put the Terror Twins back together, which don't get me wrong, I love the Terror Twins. But I'm just like, okay. I mean, sure. But I'm just like, why? I love the Terror Twins, but like, why are we now doing stuff? Anyway, SmackDown was weird this week in terms of everything. Like, Damian and Rhea are going to fight Alistair and Zelina next week. I was just like, we're still dragging out Alistair and Damian Priest for like 18 months now. Not really, but I was just like, I'm tired of it. So this was just
the Terror Twin situation. Naturally, my thought process is maybe that they're starting to do more of what AAA is doing with the mixed tags, and they're trying to bring that more into the Fed, so that way it's not just like kind of, oh, well, the indies are doing it. Oh, well, AAA is doing it. Or, so-and-so is doing it. Well, now the feds are doing it. So let's have that. So I don't believe this is what's going to happen. I'm hopeful this was going to happen is they're going to start bringing in a WWE mixed tag title and not be just AAA. So that way we can still have great talent like Ethan Page and Chelsea Green doing a mixed tag run and not have to go back and forth between NXT, WWE, and AAA and have to do quadruple duty every single week trying to make sure that, that their titles are being defended and that they are, just being able to take care of things.
Agreed. So again, Raw and SmackDown is we left Survivor Series real quick. I was like, all right, we got to finalize the Saturday night's main event card. So I'm like, okay. So, but again, this is a solid match. It was, but the storytelling was definitely missing, but still had a good time with this one. Moving on to our second match, and I'm gonna be quite honest, this was probably the match that I enjoyed the most out of everything. So, oh, Dominic and John. This was crazy to say that this was my favorite match. I think that's because it had the grand spectacle of it all. This was for the Intercontinental Championship and John Cena defending his title against Dirty Dominic Mysterio. It was just fun, and I feel like I think that's my biggest critique with Survivor Series. I had a good time because, the production and everything was good, but this felt like a well-produced, like, Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, but this to me felt like a pay-per-view match because it was just fun, and I feel like sometimes that's why, and this is a hot take, this is why I've enjoyed NXT's pay-per-views better this year because it's like, yes, you get the storytelling and good wrestling, but it's just fun. I had a blast with this one, and it's sad to say that this is my favorite match of the entire card, but that's because I had the most fun with it.
I was pissed about that injury. Literally, that botched looked so bad. I was legitimately concerned for Dom. Like, I was upset. Like, I'm like, oh my God, is he actually okay? What's going on? That was so bad. That was almost as bad. Okay, that looked as bad as when the youngest in charge took that gainer onto the stairs that one night. That's how bad that looked. Like, I thought he actually hurt himself. And then he got up and went back. I'm like, I was. If you go back and watch the VOD, you'll see me. My brain just, sorry, tired. Sleep's not being kind to me this weekend. But no, I was expecting Rey Mysterio to come out at one point because people kept coming out. And I was like, come on, give me someone to help John.
That's what I thought was gonna happen, but obviously it didn't.
It was kind of upsetting. And then it's like, the funny part was I saw Liv coming out and saying, oh yeah, we're still dumb. We're going to bring the Judgment Day isn't dominant if you need to fucking interfere with each other's matches. I'm sorry. That's going to be my hot take in this situation, but you aren't dominant if you have to interfere with each other's matches. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. I'm glad you think that you guys are dominant, but you're not, because you literally have to jump in and save each other every freaking match. I'm just weird. I'm just, the storytelling is kind of weak. And also they were building up to a breakup. Now, if this is a pump fake and Liv breaks everyone down and breaks them up, that's good storytelling. I would love this. That's what I'm hoping might happen.
So here's where I think we're going, right? Because, we had a in-ring Judgment Day segment on Raw. And so what I think is happening is I think we are slowly going to start turning Dominic babyface because that's what Liv is starting to do. And, we talked about this and we all called it that WWE was waiting for Liv to return to start the official breakup of the Judgment Day. But I'm just like, I don't want to say I don't care, but I was just like, the train for me has left the station already. But I will say, though, if we're starting to actually now do it to where, we break up the Judgment Day or at least pull Dom away from the Judgment Day so he can be on his own and turn him babyface, then I'm here for it. And honestly, Liv going with him too would be great. But this is great. This was the match I had the most fun with. Dominic is regained the Intercontinental Championship. So now John Cena into when we talk about Saturday night's main event. Alrighty. So, Kilt, it brings me no pleasure, but we do need to talk about this match, though, next. So this is for the Women's World Championship. Stephanie Vach taking on Nikki Bella. And here's what I want to say, because I've seen some interesting and weird takes online this past week about this. Was I the most excited for Nikki Bella to face Stephanie for this title? Absolutely not, because I feel like there's other matches we can give Stephanie. Did I think people were a little harsh on Nikki during this match? And I'm going to say yes, it was. I'm not a Bella stan. I'm not, part of the Bella army or whatever. The Bellas never really did anything for me in terms of professional wrestling, but they mean a lot to a lot of people growing up in the Divas era, and I 100% respect that. What I don't appreciate is people saying that Nikki was so bad in this match. I'm like, no. And dare I say, I was like, I actually think this was Nikki's best match since returning to WWE in this current run. And dare I say, I think she put in the work. She did really good. I think she worked better as a heel. My biggest issue with this match actually has to come down to Stephanie, not herself, but the way that we are kind of booking Stephanie's championship run it's not fun. And I don't understand. And I get, you don't want to give her like big name opponents because then you're trying to protect everyone. But like, and I know that Stephanie has to work a different style now that she's in WWE compared to like when she was in CMLL or wrestling around the world. But the biggest issue I had with this match, it just felt very paint by numbers. It was like standard step one, step two, step three. And I didn't feel that Stephanie's passion was here. And I don't know, maybe it's just me reading into it. It was a safe match, but I felt Stephanie was there, but she wasn't like present, if that makes any sense.
The match. I don't think she was happy with how the match worked out per se. I think there was a couple spots that she was upset of the way they went. And I sent you this TikTok where Nikki herself said she took the devil's kiss wrong and ended up, injuring herself. And it's like, I think Stephanie was upset by the botches and and just the general storyline and how she might be feeling underutilized. I think she's getting pressure from one side to do something that she's not used to or not inclined to do, and it's not working for her. And I think that she's starting to show it. And I feel for her because La Primera is just amazing. She's an amazing wrestler, and then she gets put into this what feels like a last minute thing with Nikki, and I'm like, I don't think Nikki deserved this run. I don't think that the build up for this was that well planned out. I think they're like, here we need a fourth match. Go. We need to make this worthwhile. Honestly, there should have been 2 more matches in this entire freaking show, but that's me. That's just how I am. That's how I think. I kind of wish they figured out a way to make that ring better, but hey, whatever. So I looked over at Twitch and it's doing the Batman commercial, and I'm just starting like I just got completely sidelined on what the heck I was trying to say. It's a State Farm commercial, but yeah, I don't think Stephanie was happy, and you can see it on her face when she gets out of the ring. She just was not happy with how things went down, and I can't blame her. I can't blame Nikki either. Nikki was, as you said, she did a great job. She botched a couple of things and didn't do things certain ways, and so that obviously upset Stephanie. But even Nikki admitted she messed up, which is a good point. As I said at the beginning, if you make a mistake, you admit to it, learn from it, move on. Don't don't try and hide it. Don't try and say, "Oh, well, I didn't do that." But I think they should have done better development for this, because it was literally like a 1 or 2 week build for this, and that was it. And I'm like, I didn't like the build. I didn't like how we got to where we were, and overall the match was good. It could have been, there could have been more of something, and both women could have probably enjoyed this a whole lot better if certain things went their way, or they have better storyline or something. But it's just I'm upset for them because they're professionals. They're great and amazing wrestlers and amazing talent, and I think that something happened and it didn't give them the opportunity to shine at their best, and didn't give them like I won't say that the match was subpar, but it wasn't as polished as it should be, and it wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah. Again, the match itself wasn't bad. I actually thought this was a pretty solid match, but at the same time, there was just elements to me that were missing from it. And I think that's the big thing throughout this whole entire Survivor series. I feel like outside of the men's war game match, which, had the most build and the most story to it, I just feel like the other 3 matches had I'll put it this way. I feel like the men's war game match had the most story build put into it, and it didn't really need all the extra. I think they over delivered with the story in that one. Like, they did too much for the build for the men's war games, and everything else on the card was very uneven. I mean, Cena and Dominic was made like what, like 2 weeks before? Not even 2 weeks, maybe like the week of leading into Survivor Series, or like 2 weeks before. And, Dominic cut promos, which was a women's war games, didn't get a lot of the build. And I think that's why I ended up giving this, show a C plus overall. is because it was safe. It was a safe pay-per-view. It was a solid work and stuff from everyone. But the unevenness of, giving the storytelling build to this match, like it didn't help a lot of these matches. I also do agree we probably should have gotten like one or two more. Like, honestly, we could have had Ilya Dragunov have an open challenge on this pay-per-view. Like, that could have been great. But, at this point, again, Stephanie, Nikki, fantastic. It's very solid work. It just was missing the build to this. And speaking of which, let's get into the main event, which, in my opinion, this men's war games had too much story to it, which I know sounds like I'm being a fickle wrestling fan, but I was like, we did not need all these extra segments leading into this. Like, we had the teams, we could have just had like one final promo off and call it a day, and we would have been fine. But the men's war game match, we had Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and then Jimmy and Jay Uso taking on Brock Lesnar, Big Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, again, I think the men were able to like use tables and do stuff like that. But I also feel like I was just like, I don't really care about this one. I was just like, I thought things were gonna go down after the match was over, but like it didn't. So it felt very flat on TV and then flat when we were there live. Like, it was crazy. I am happy to see that Braun got the pin here, so that was pretty fun. There was a scary moment where I thought Braun, like, when he landed hard on his neck after I forgot who gave him the power bomb, but I was just like, it looked really bad, and I thought Braun was legit, like, gonna be hurt. I got a chuckle with Jay being so unserious in this match and doing the yeet in the middle of the match with the music. Listen, he was so unserious and people were so mad. I was just like, I don't care. I was like, I love how Jay is so unserious. But again, this was another one where I felt like we had too much story going to it. Again, look at me being a fickle wrestling fan. I feel like we did not need all this build. Like, I understand why everyone was here and why we had this. And I was just like, it was what it was. And then to mention though, of course, towards the tail end, we had somebody in a black hoodie and a ski mask, jump over and people are like, "Oh my god, it's Seth Rollins." I was like, You guys, like, I need y'all to calm down. It is not Seth. Seth is legit injured. I still look at him sideways because after we got faked out, leading into SummerSlam, but at the same time, I was just like,
But it is Seth. And the reason I say this is because it's whoever the hell they want it to be when they finally reveal who it was. You know, it's not going to be the same person. It's probably going to be one of the extras they had in the back that they like, okay, he can climb this, he can do the coup de grace, or do the curb stomp, coup de grace, something else. That's Finn Balor's move.
Yeah. And then we're gonna get some builds. I know we got Saturday night's main event, but we're gonna figure out a direction, right? Everybody is like all over the place. Like, Braun cuts a promo. I mean, him and Punk might be going at it, which makes sense because Braun got the win for his team. But what I'm trying to figure out, like, is look, I want to focus on Cody because Roman's gone until like further notice. He'll be back like at Rumble season, so we won't see him for the remainder of the year. But I want to talk about Cody really quickly because I'm just sitting here. Well, first, actually, I want to talk about Jay because Jay started crashing out after losing to LA Knight on Raw. Getting eliminated from you know the last time is now tournament, and he after the match he had a full on crash out. I was like, I like crash out Jay. I need this to be his character for a little bit because he keeps losing, and now he's crashing out, and I like seeing crash
Oh yeah,
out.
Crash Out Jay is fun. Like I want not serious,
But
but that's crazy goofy
he's
shit.
on a losing streak, and he's gonna like throw a tantrum, like he's gonna destroy things. It's great. But I want to talk about this Cody situation. So I'm just sitting here. I'm like, okay, you know what? We're probably gonna build to Cody and Drew. Drew was on the winning team, so he should have some credence to fight Cody, right? But for Saturday night's main event, right? On SmackDown, Cody comes into the office with Nick, and at first I was like, okay, we're gonna see where this is going. Like, we don't know that it has to do with Saturday night's main event, but Cody wants to talk to Nick and we follow them camera work into the office, right? And so I'm like, okay, cool. Then when we get into the office, I see Oba Femi and Ricky Saints in there on Friday Night SmackDown. I'm like, what's about to happen? Why do we have mind you, this is the day before Deadline, which these two are supposed to have their NXT Championship match. And so, but Cody tells Oba and Ricky that whoever wins their match at Deadline will go face Cody at Saturday night's main event. But Cody didn't mention that the title was going to be on the line. It was just going to be a singles match. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, I hate this so much for Oba and Ricky because good and damn well that it doesn't matter at this point as Friday Night SmackDown. It doesn't matter who ends up winning at Deadline. In my head, I was just like, Cody is not losing because main roster is not going to. And then, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Deadline yet, but we kind of already know, Oba is now three-time NXT champ, and so it's gonna be Oba versus Cody Rhodes at Saturday night's main event, and I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, y'all wrote yourselves into a corner because I know for damn sure they're not gonna let Cody lose, but they also are not gonna let Oba lose. So what's probably gonna happen at Saturday night's main event, and we're gonna put on the bingo card, Drew's gonna cause
Oh, yeah.
disqualification and a no
Bring up the
contest. And
Yep.
I'm just sitting
Bring
here,
the
I'm
right
like,
back.
then why do we have this match? Like, I'm not saying that every match has to have a winner or a loser, but this should be a winner or a loser. I was just like, why are you going to do it this whatever? It's stupid. I'm mad. And it's just so dumb. Let's talk about Saturday night's main event. And I'm just gonna again, I'm gonna continue to rant on this. So it's gonna be Cody Rhodes versus Oba Femi, right? And again, I'm just like, I freaking hate how this is going for me personally. Again, there doesn't have to be a winner or a loser, but like, might I add, this is Cody Rhodes going up against the men's NXT champion on Saturday. So I'm like, once again, NXT championships are not held the same value or weight as main roster main titles. I was like, get the hell out of here with this mess. Yeah, I already see the writing on the wall and I'm so mad. I was just like, I especially don't like this for Oba. And I was just like, this is stupid. And yeah, I'm just dumb. I was just like, why make this match if you're gonna cause a, DQ, no contest? It's some bullshit is what it is.
It's full on bullshit, and honestly, that they should. We're gonna talk about this on an NXT Losos about Deadline, but it's like, come on, guys, how are you gonna make like? Okay, I understand the Oba and Cody Rhodes fight. Oba, the ruler of NXT, going against Cody Rhodes, main roster's quarterback, the two big faces, so to speak. You know who else could interfere? Trick.
Yeah, that's another thing. After Trick losing at Gold Rush, we have not seen him, so who knows?
I'm thinking that might happen. Anyway, it's or as far as I can see it, I'm trying to look at this and be objective and understand the Fed's mentality. I want to see champion versus champion. Give me a night of champions, and not in Saudi Arabia. Do it hell, do it
That's why
anywhere.
we didn't do the review for Night of Champions this year because it was in.
Um,
I'm good. We still did
but
predictions though, but still.
yeah, it's like as I see it, like if you want to do a champion on champion, yeah, it's do a PLE, do a pay per view. Don't make it, a Monday night, Saturday night main event, maybe because it's weird. It's like Saturday night main event. It's a lesser PLE, but it's still a PLE.
At this point, Saturday night's main event to me is like a house show with a TV budget.
You could say that about NXT's normal shows is how our house shows with TV budgets.
How? No, because I'm gonna stop you right there because we're gonna fight. No, I'm just kidding. No, I get your point, but I think for me, Saturday night's main event has less of a consequence to the overall storytelling. Like everything that happens at Saturday night main event sometimes has a storytelling perspective, like leading into other things, but other times it does not. And at least the NXT pay-per-views at least have some sort of story consequences leading into the week to week.
I wasn't saying pay per views for NXT. I was talking about every day.
That's true.
The Tuesday night shows are basically house shows that are put on TV
Yep, and they are
because
baller.
oh my god, that's so much fun.
They are a lot of and I think that's my issue with main roster in general is because, like, at least NXT throws things at the wall to see what sticks and what doesn't, but they're willing to try anything and everything. Main
I mean,
roster has to take risks like that to me, and I get it because, it's main roster, it's your flagship shows, the SmackDown and Raw, but I'm like, "Let's take risks, you guys, and make it."
you know what? We're going to talk about risk for a second. Here's what NXT does that SmackDown and Raw doesn't. They have dance offs before the show starts. I am dead serious. The crowd does a dance off. It is so hilarious every single time. They fucking play Bye Bye Bye. They do a Thriller or it's a Michael Jackson song. They do like 3 of them. And it's just so much fun. And it gets the audience like really, really involved. It's just so great. And then you have have Jim 316. So Jim's one of the security guys at the PC.
Right.
His role, Jim 3, no video for no videography. You can take stills, but you can't record.
Yep.
So he walks around the barricade with a little sign that says Jim 316.
No, but all to say, NXT shows are a lot of fun, but that's what I'm saying. I want more fun on main roster. But anyways, so like I said, that's Cody and Oba for Saturday night's main event. Then also on SmackDown, out of the blue, because they're like, okay, we have John Cena's retirement match. Oh crap, we probably should get some other matches on this card too. So randomly, we're gonna be getting Bailey versus Sol Ruka just cause I was just like, listen, I love Sol Ruka, I love me some Bailey, but what the F? Like, what? This is out of nowhere.
That makes no sense to me as much as I enjoy Bailey. Soul has her own rivalry to deal with right now.
That's what I'm saying, and you know what? To be quite honest, because this has happened on SmackDown, I was just like, "Oh, she's not winning then tomorrow. Damn it, there goes my point for Deadline." That's the only thing that I hated. I was just like, with her getting a match against Bayley at Saturday night's main event, I was like, "Oh, so Saul's not probably not gonna win Deadline." And I was just like, "Darn it." But again, on paper, I'm excited because Bayley versus Soul should be fun. But again, it's like they just threw this match because they need more matches on the card. I was just like, there's no story build. It's just, to have a match. And I'm just like, whatever. But, and then, of course, let's get into what is main eventing the show most likely, which is the retirement match, John Cena's final match. We have a winner of the Last Time Is Now tournament on Friday Night SmackDown. We had actually a very baller match in the finals, but Gunther ended up beating LA Knight. So it is going to be Gunther versus John Cena at Saturday night's main event this upcoming Saturday. And I know a lot of people are mad at it. I was like, I'm not mad. I was like, I called Gunther from the very beginning. I'm just happy we didn't get a Jey Uso Gunther finals. Like, because I was like, no, don't do this to me. This is going to be an interesting match. I mean, so it should be fine. But I was just like, the tournament wasn't bad. I actually enjoyed it. I do think it sucks that Sheamus had to get taken out because he was injured, which is very unfortunate. I was rooting for LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes to make it to the finals and be the final opponent for John Cena, but I think Gunther and Cena will be a solid match. And you know what? It's not the worst possible thing. I'm gonna be for real. Like there was a moment where I thought, "Oh my god, what if they actually have Solo Sikoa go up against John Cena?" I was just like, I like Solo, but like no. But yeah, so I mean, Gunther versus Cena, we all kind of saw it coming, but I still think it's gonna be a fun match. And then this week we'll probably figure out if there's gonna be another match and so on Saturday night's main event because those are the only three that we gotten so far. But yeah, so we will be doing a live watch along for Saturday night's main event this upcoming Saturday. And again, normally we don't do watch alongs for Saturday night's main event, but because this is Cena's retirement match, we need to because this is a moment in wrestling history where John Cena will officially, hang up his wrestling in-ring wrestling boots and be retired from in-ring professional wrestling, at least the in-ring aspects of it. So make sure to tune in Saturday. But yeah, that's going to be it for us here at Wrestle Watch. We have a pretty standard week this week, but it's definitely a fun one. So, to kind of give you a rundown for this week, Tuesday, we have our AEW review as we are still in the middle of Continental Classic time. And we now have the final set for the inaugural AEW Women's Tag Team Titles Showdown. So we are getting the finals this week, and we're going to talk briefly about that and everything else that happened on Dynamite and Collision this past week for AEW. Then on Wednesday, it's your doubleheader feature. First, the NXT crew will be here to review NXT's Deadline. Lots of swerves, lots of questions. We got returns. So we're going to break all that down on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. And then at 8 p.m. Pacific that same night, the CMLL boys will be here breaking down CMLL action. And this was a pretty fun week for Lucha Libre as well. Then on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, the TNA crew will be reviewing TNA's final pay-per-view. We got lots of new talent coming through. We had some crazy matches, so we're going to break down that pay-per-view. Saturday night's main event, Cena's retirement match, and then Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, the GCW crew will be doing a live watch-along for the Nick Gage Invitational 9. Death matches all the time, so it will be bloodied. There will be lots of light tubes broken. It's going to be a nutty, nutty event. But that's going to be it for us here. Thank you so much for tuning into our review for Survivor Series War Games. We will be having a very fun week. But from all of us here at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you this week for a plethora of reviews. But until then, and until next time, peace.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself. love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.